Halloween. My oldest is nothing because she's a teenager, so I guess she don't dress up. My second is a clown, mostly because I don't like clowns. Number 3 is a red stormtrooper. He's 8, so he likes Star Wars. And then my youngest is Skylar Thompson. So picked an offensive guy, of course. So
at what age should a kid stop dressing up for Halloween?
I don't know. I think they should be able to dress up whatever, man. It's just that age. Sometimes they're like, I'm not gonna do that no more. That cool age. I don't know what age that happens. It's different for every kid.
How tough a challenge is this Kansas offense with the skill talent that they have?
It's similar to a lot of these games. You have a running back that can run. He can move. He's got good ability. He can move around, do some of those things. So it always starts there for us. How good is the run game, and how many guys do we got to put in the box to stop it? And this one's a challenge. He's a guy that if you short it, he has the ability to hit a home run on you. So you got to pick and choose the times that you do short the run game, and you play some cover 2 stuff. But I think that they're good enough to hit home runs back there, and then they got a quarterback who can throw the ball and manage the game and do all those things, and they got enough speed on the outside to punish you if you consistently put too many guys in the box. So it's a balance, and you try to show them the same thing play after play and do different things at them, and hopefully they have to guess is what you're making them hoping, and then when they have to guess, hopefully they're guessing, at least they're guessing wrong half the time.
How did you feel about how your defense played last week, particularly in the second and third quarter when you held it to 6 points for such a long stretch of time?
We were excited about it. I think the guys were excited about that time. I think that just the fact of going in the game, we knew they were a challenge. They're a great offense. They have some really good players, man. And it's a deal that we said, listen, you gotta make them punt a few times. You gotta get a couple takeaways, and you gotta make them kick field goals instead of touchdowns. And during that stretch, I think we did a pretty good job with that. During the rest of the game, we didn't. And we did a better job tackling them than a TCU, which was a good thing. But like you said, our guys believe, and they scrap around, and they try hard no matter what the situation is. So hopefully we can keep getting that out of them.
You're tied for number 1 in the FBS with Ohio State, Penn State, and Kentucky, and allowing the fewest passing touchdowns so far this season. Is that a mentality?
No, I think we've just been worse against the run at this point. Would be my guess against that. I think that's cool, and I think that that's something that the guys, and I think they are playing good pass defense. We had a chance to hit some guys last week and do all those things, but I think that we're giving up some yards against the run too. So I think people, when they come in, they look at it the other way. Hey, can we run the ball against these guys? We've been giving up some explosive plays there, especially with quarterbacks running around. So I think that even if you look at what Oklahoma did, their running backs, after we started stopping them, because we did focus on them quite a bit, we didn't know that Hurts would carry the ball so many times. They just aborted the run game with running backs and started running him all the time. And I think that some people choose to go that way, and I think that it just so happens when they get down there in the red zone, you can find different ways to get in, and that's one of the ways. Hopefully we can keep them out of the end zone with passing. That's a great deal.
More than midway through the season, how good has A.J. Parker been?
He's been really good. He's been our best corner. We try to give him the best matchup. On most weeks. Sometimes we'll play him field and boundary. Sometimes we'll put him on a guy. Sometimes we'll put him. We generally give him the hardest job that we have on defense, and he's been holding up pretty good. I know that everybody's going to give up a play here and there, but he's got a great mentality that he's got a short memory. And when it does happen, he can go back in and play the next play, and he understands it's a 6-second life. It really doesn't matter if you gave up 1 or 2 already. You just got to go play, or if you made a great play or not, because they're still going to come after you. So it's kind of the position we put him in, and he's done a really good job with it.
How much experience do you have coaching against teams that are so heavy RPO like KU is?
I think it's been something that's been sliding in and out for a little bit here. They've tended to go at the last couple weeks more, with the transition that they've had. But we try to get in a we tweak our defense a little bit as best we can. There's some things that are good to it and other things that are less good to it. So we try to keep ourselves away from the ones that you'd say, okay, hey, what kind of RPO game are they? We've been seeing RPOs all year. A lot of it's more outside breaking stuff, so it doesn't, with what we do, it doesn't really bother us. Okay, if it if they get to some other things where they're going shots or whatever. And, a lot of stuff nowadays is, considered RPO, but it's also, look, your corner's way off and you say, okay, they're not going to give up the fade, but I got a free 5-yard hitch. Is it a true RPO where I'm reading a guy to throw or give, or is it a pre-snap thing? And I think that they kind of do multiple. If they got a pre-snap key, he's way back there, or he's up, let's throw him the fade, After the snap, okay, we're going to go bubble, so if you cheat this guy in too far, okay, we can throw it, So, those things, you just got to be able to tweak it, and that's the same thing that we started with, just try to give them the look where they'd say, okay, we think we got it. One defense, we're going to take it away. The next defense, they're going to have it. And so they have to be right, at least pre-snap, we're going to try not to show them too much.
How stressful was that fourth quarter trying to defend OU in full comeback mode?
Oh, man. Those are like the things that you say. You try to talk situational football with the guys, and you say, hey, either get scored on slowly, get the ball back, or make them kick field goals. That's really the whole game plan the whole day. And then, the first time that we went out there after we talked about like 7 seconds, it was like, CeeDee Lamb's a pretty good player, man. It was stressful. It's one of those things, every game I think is stressful. Every game comes to that point where it's a tipping point, and if the guys keep battling, it's always fun. But I think all games have that point in it. Even the games that you win by a lot, there's that tipping point where you can go one way or the other. You give up a big play, they're back in it, or not. So but that game was pretty good because you don't want to let the offense down. They played a super game. Special teams did a great job too. They were balling.
From a defensive coordinator perspective, how hard would it have been, you think, to defend K-State's offense with the balance they had against Oklahoma and just as well as they played?
I don't know. The hard part is I see nothing of that side of the ball. We're worried about we got a guy that's going for like 500 yards between his throwing and his running. So I was like, I don't know. It sounded like, Mess said something about the stats was pretty balanced. I think that's hard. I think that it's hard when you get a team that's doing both to you, and you really, it sounded like, and I don't know what it was, but when a team takes what you give them, that's the hard part. If you can, like we talked about, if the corner's way off and we had a fade or a hitch, and I can run the ball into a whole bunch of guys in the box or just throw the hitch, and you get 5 yards, it's still 5 yards. And if offenses are patient like that and they're willing to go 20 yards, or 20 plays to get that's really hard to defend. It's the teams that get impatient and take a shot and it's incomplete, and then you get a chance on defense to say, okay, now they're off schedule, or it's third and medium or long. Okay, now maybe the odds go back in our favor a little bit, and those are hard things to defend.
Multiple times, since it happened with the injury to Eric, Coach Kleiman has mentioned that one of the toughest parts was the biggest part of the game plan that he'd had this season. So
yeah.
Who's the guy who steps in for him now?
Duke. We tried Duke out a little bit to rush too. I think Boom's getting healthy. He was a guy that really had that slot going into the season, and he's just been so, his hip's been bad, and he's been back and forth, and sometimes you go out to practice and he looks great, and other times you're like, he looks like me. Well, not quite as bad as me, but looks like an old man running around out there. And you hope that he can keep coming back and say, hey, if he keeps getting juiced up, he's a guy. And he ended up finishing the game with us in that situation, which was good. But you'd always like to have, like EG had that special burst, and you want to keep guys like that as much as you can on the field. But I think that Duke's a young guy that can really rush and do some of those things and has that different speed level than some of the other guys we have out there.
You faced some great offenses so far this season. All of a sudden, KU's third in the Big 12 and pass completions of 50-plus yards this season. What makes them so dynamic getting the ball down the field?
I think they just do it. You look at some of their stuff and you look at it and say, man, that was a really good throw and catch. They have good chemistry between the outside, really all the receivers. Even their inside guys. He throws a nice outside deep ball that they can run underneath, And then, they also have enough athletes that it's a deal where you can say, okay, hey, I got an over out that kind of leaned. If you jump it wrong or the safety misses it, a lot of times it's hitting at that level where it's behind the linebacker, so you have less ability to play it with your underneath guys. But if a deep guy misses it, now it's big, And I think that they do a good job with both those things. They can put touch on the ball. He does a good job putting it out there for the guys to run underneath, and it's a deal where they're catching that second level route. That's a deal where hey, if we don't do a good sure job tackling in the back end, it could spit out on you, you know, and it could turn into one. You know, it goes from a 16-yard completion to a 31 because, you know, one guy missed, and it's just it's at that range.